Every human being feels emotions: joy, sadness, fear, love, anger, disappointment. These are not weaknesses, they are part of being alive. But the real problem begins when emotions stop being signals and start becoming commands. An emotion is meant to give you information, to tell you something about what's happening around you. It's like a notification from your body and mind. Anger tells you that a boundary has been crossed. Sadness tells you that something meaningful has been lost. Fear tells you there may be danger ahead. Joy tells you that something aligns with your values. Emotions are messengers, but when you confuse the messenger for the master, you become a prisoner. Think about how many times people make faltering decisions in moments of high emotion. A person filled with anger speaks words that destroy relationships forever. A person drowning in sadness makes choices that cut off opportunities. A person paralyzed by fear never takes the leap toward their dream. All of this happens because they mistake temporary feelings for permanent truths. They follow emotions as though emotions were commands, and then they regret the consequences that follow. The truth is, your emotions are real, but they are not always right. Just because you feel unworthy does not mean you are unworthy. Just because you feel afraid does not mean you are in danger. Just because you feel angry does not mean you should act on rage. Feelings are valid, but they are not facts. When you act as if emotions are commands, you hand over control of your life to impulses that were only meant to inform you. Imagine driving a car. The dashboard lights are signals. If the fuel light comes on, it's telling you the tank is low. But you don't panic, abandon the car, and say the journey is impossible. You take it as a sign to refuel. In the same way, fear is a signal that you should prepare better. Anger is a signal that something needs to change. Sadness is a signal that you need healing or closure. These signals were never meant to stop your journey. They were meant to guide how you move forward. But when people treat emotions as commands, it's like slamming the brakes every time a light appears. They never reach their destination because they are reacting instead of responding. Think about how many relationships collapse not because of incompatibility, but because emotions were not controlled. A person gets jealous, assumes betrayal, and lashes out without asking questions. Another person feels neglected. Instead of communicating, they shut down or seek attention elsewhere. Another feels hurt, and instead of healing, they hold grudges for years. These are not conscious choices, they are impulsive reactions. The problem is not the emotion itself, but the decision to let it dictate the outcome. The same applies in careers and business. Someone gets nervous during an opportunity and backs away, convincing themselves they weren't ready. Another feels impatient when results don't come quickly and quits before success arrives. Another feels offended by constructive criticism and misses the chance to grow. All of these moments are examples of emotions acting as commands instead of signals. And every time you let this happen, you shrink your future to fit your feelings instead of expanding your feelings to fit your future. What separates strong individuals from the rest is not that they don't feel emotions, it's that they interpret them differently. They feel fear, but instead of running, they ask, "What is this fear trying to tell me? Am I unprepared? Do I need more information? Or is this fear a sign that I'm stepping into growth?" They feel anger, but instead of exploding, they ask, "Why am I triggered? What value of mine is being disrespected? How can I address this with wisdom instead of violence?" They feel sadness, but instead of drowning, they ask, "What is this teaching me about what I value most? How can I honor this pain without letting it chain me?" This is the difference, using emotions as teachers instead of masters. The brutal truth is, most people never learn this discipline. They allow feelings to sit in the driver's seat while their logic, purpose, and vision sit in the back. They react to every trigger, every insult, every disappointment, and wonder why their life feels like chaos. If you want to stop being an emotional fool, you must learn to pause. Between stimulus and response lies a choice. Someone may insult you and your first feeling is anger, but you have a choice whether you react with violence, walk away, or use the moment to prove your strength. The pause is where wisdom lives. The pause is where you remind yourself, this is just a signal, not a command. Consider how emotions can mislead. Fear, for instance, often disguises itself as caution. It tells you not to try because you might fail. It commands you to stay safe, to stay small, to avoid risks. But if you treat fear as a signal, you realize it's pointing you towards something that matters deeply to you. The bigger the fear, the bigger the growth waiting on the other side. Those who succeed are not fearless. They are interpreters of fear. They know it's a signpost pointing toward expansion, not a stop sign blocking the road. Anger is another emotion that, when misunderstood, destroys lives. Anger is energy. If you treat it as a command, you unleash it recklessly and burn bridges. But if you treat it as a signal, you can channel it into constructive action. Some of the greatest inventions, movements, and revolutions were born out of anger at injustice. The difference is in the response. One person uses anger to punch walls, another uses it to change the world. The emotion is the same, but the interpretation makes the difference. Even joy, if mistaken as a command, can mislead you. Joy tells you that something feels good. If you chase joy without wisdom, you become addicted to temporary pleasures, ignoring long-term consequences. People ruin their health, their finances, and their relationships by confusing pleasure for purpose. But when joy is treated as a signal, it teaches you where your passions lie, what makes your heart alive, and where you should direct your efforts. It becomes fuel for commitment instead of distraction. Emotions will always arrive uninvited, but how you host them is up to you. You can let them take over your home, rearrange the furniture, and kick out your logic. Or you can welcome them as guests, learn from them, and then send them on their way. The difference between mastery and slavery is perspective. You cannot stop the waves of emotion, but you can learn to surf them. The hardest moments in life are often the ones most clouded by emotion. The breakup, the betrayal, the rejection, the failure. These are the moments when feelings scream the loudest. In those moments, you will be tempted to act on impulse, to lash out, to quit, to give up. But if you can pause, breathe, and remind yourself that emotions are signals, you will make choices that serve your future instead of your temporary state. The greatest revenge is not emotional reaction. It is calm progress. The greatest power is not to destroy in anger, but to rise in clarity. Children are emotional by nature. They cry when they are hungry, scream when they are upset, laugh when they are amused. But adulthood is supposed to be different. Maturity means learning to feel everything without being controlled by anything. If you are still making decisions like a child, reacting to every feeling, you may grow older, but you will never grow wiser. Real strength is emotional discipline, the ability to carry deep feelings but still choose your actions with clarity. It takes practice. It takes awareness. It takes the humility to admit when you are being controlled by emotions and the discipline to stop it. But once you master this, life changes. You begin to see situations for what they are instead of what you feel in the moment. You begin to rise above manipulation, because people cannot control someone who controls themselves. You begin to attract respect, because nothing is more powerful than a person who stays calm in chaos. This is why emotions must always remain signals, not commands. They are guides, not masters. They are meant to inform, not to imprison. Feel them, honor them, but never obey them blindly. Because the moment you do, you stop living with wisdom and start living as an emotional fool. And nothing destroys potential faster than that. Every human being is born with limited energy. Not just physical energy, but emotional and mental energy too. Every day you wake up with a certain amount of focus, patience, resilience, and strength. How you choose to spend that energy determines the quality of your life. The tragedy is that many people waste it on those who do not deserve it, on people who drain, disrespect, and misuse what is given to them freely. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it is survival. It is wisdom. It is the key to building a life that feels fulfilling instead of exhausting. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that love, loyalty, and kindness should be limitless even in the face of mistreatment. They give and give, hoping that eventually their generosity will be reciprocated. But reality does not work that way. Some people are not in your life to uplift you. They are there to take advantage of your open heart. If you do not learn to protect your energy, you will wake up one day completely drained, wondering why you feel empty despite giving so much. The truth is that not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone deserves your time, your care, your listening ear, or your emotional investment. Yet many people live as if they must entertain everyone who demands their attention. They pick up calls they should ignore. They show up for people who never show up for them. They explain themselves to people who are committed to misunderstanding them. They forgive endlessly, not out of strength, but out of fear of being alone. This is what keeps them stuck in cycles of pain. Protecting your energy requires one powerful skill: boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they are doors. They don't lock the world out, but they decide who gets to come in and how far they are allowed to go. Without boundaries, you become a playground for those who enjoy using others. With boundaries, you send a clear message: my time, my heart, and my mind are valuable, and I will not allow them to be mistreated. Think about how much energy is wasted on the wrong people, the endless arguments with someone who never intends to understand, the sleepless nights worrying about someone who doesn't care enough to change, the frustration of investing in someone who only takes and never gives. Every minute you spend on the wrong person is a minute stolen from your growth, your peace, and your future. Life is short and energy is precious. Protecting it is not cruelty, it is clarity. Some people are addicted to drama. They thrive on chaos and negativity, and they will drag you into their storm if you allow them. Every time you argue with them, you are feeding their addiction. Every time you react to their manipulation, you are fueling their power. The way to win against such people is not to fight harder, it is to disengage. Your silence is more powerful than your anger. Your absence is louder than your words. Protecting your energy means refusing to be pulled into battles that do not deserve your strength. Others may not be toxic, but they are careless with your energy. They take without realizing the cost to you. They lean on you for comfort, but are never there when you need them. They ask for your time, but never consider your schedule. They depend on you for motivation, but never contribute to your growth. These people may not mean harm, but their presence still leaves you drained. Protecting your energy means recognizing that even good people can exhaust you if there is no balance. You cannot pour endlessly into others while neglecting yourself. When you fail to protect your energy, you also fail to protect your dreams. Every dream requires focus, consistency, and resilience. But when your energy is constantly consumed by people who do not deserve it, you are left with nothing to build your own vision. You become so busy managing other people's chaos that you forget to create your own peace. You become so busy helping others fight their battles that you abandon your own, and then you wonder why your goals remain unfulfilled. Protecting your energy is not just about saying no to the wrong people. It is also about saying yes to yourself. It is about redirecting that energy into pursuits that uplift you, into relationships that inspire you, into habits that strengthen you. Imagine how powerful you would become if the energy you spent on arguments, regrets, and toxic people was instead invested in your growth. Imagine the transformation if every drop of energy wasted on proving yourself to those who don't care was instead poured into building the life you truly want. There will always be people who misunderstand your decision to protect your energy. They will call you selfish. They will say you've changed. They will accuse you of abandoning them. But remember, people who benefit from your lack of boundaries will always resist when you set them. Do not mistake their complaints as proof that you are wrong. Their discomfort is simply evidence that you are no longer allowing yourself to be drained. Protecting your energy also means being selective about what you consume. It's not just people who can drain you. News, social media, negativity, and constant comparison can sap your strength as well. Every time you scroll endlessly through other people's lives, you are giving away your mental focus. Every time you surround yourself with gossip and negativity, you are contaminating your emotional space. Protecting your energy requires curating your environment. Just as you would not eat food that poisons your body, you should not consume information or environments that poison your mind. There is also the matter of self-drainage. Sometimes the person draining your energy is not someone else. It is you. The overthinking, the self-doubt, the replaying of past mistakes, the endless worrying about the future. All of this consumes enormous energy. Protecting your energy means protecting yourself from yourself. It means disciplining your mind to focus on what you can control, instead of obsessing over what you cannot. It means refusing to be your own enemy by indulging in thoughts that weaken you. You have to understand that your energy is your currency. Every decision you make spends it somewhere. If you spend it wisely, you build wealth in the form of growth, peace, and fulfillment. If you spend it carelessly, you go bankrupt emotionally and mentally. Wealthy people do not throw money at anything that asks for it. They invest carefully. In the same way, you must invest your energy carefully. Not everyone is worthy of it. Not every situation deserves it. Not every battle is worth fighting. You will find that once you protect your energy, life begins to shift. The noise quiets down, the drama fades away, the constant exhaustion turns into clarity. You begin to feel lighter, freer, and more focused. And this is when growth accelerates, because your energy is finally being directed where it belongs. You are no longer bleeding strength on what drains you. You are building power on what sustains you. Protecting your energy does not mean living without love. It does not mean becoming cold or detached. It simply means recognizing that real love cannot exist without respect. If someone loves you but consistently disrespects your energy, that is not love. It is dependency. True relationships, whether friendships, family bonds, or partnership, honor each other's energy. They give as much as they take. They nurture instead of drain. They leave you feeling stronger, not weaker. It is not your responsibility to fix everyone. It is not your responsibility to be endlessly available to anyone who demands your attention. Your responsibility is to protect your own spirit so that you can live with strength, clarity, and purpose. If you let everyone consume your energy, you will have nothing left for yourself. But when you guard it, when you direct it wisely, you not only build your own life, you also inspire others to do the same. That is the power of protecting your energy. It is the power of finally saying, I will not give my peace to those who thrive on chaos. I will not give my love to those who waste it. I will not give my time to those who do not value it. I will not give my strength to battles that do not matter. My energy is my life, and I will protect it with everything I have. Every person is born with emotions, but not every person learns how to master them. Most people allow their emotions to dictate their choices, their words, and even their future. They lash out when angry, they withdraw when afraid, they cling when lonely, they quit when discouraged. They become puppets, pulled by the strings of whatever feeling arises in the moment. And yet the truth is that emotions were never meant to be your master. They were meant to be your messenger. They tell you what you feel, but they do not decide what you do. Those who succeed at the highest levels are not the ones who feel less, but the ones who refuse to let feelings control their destiny. Disciplining your emotions does not mean suppressing them or pretending you don't feel. It means creating enough inner strength to choose your response, no matter what your feelings scream at you to do. Anger may rise, but you choose calm. Fear may shake you, but you choose courage. Sadness may weigh you down, but you choose persistence. That choice, repeated over and over, becomes the foundation of unshakable strength, and that strength separates those who drift through life at the mercy of moods from those who rise and take command of their path. Imagine how much potential is lost every day because people make decisions in the heat of emotions. Words spoken in anger destroy relationships that could have been healed. Choices made in fear close doors that could have led to opportunity. Impulses born of frustration lead to mistakes that cost years to repair. When emotions control you, your life becomes a series of reactions instead of deliberate actions. You are always chasing, always apologizing, always regretting. But when you control emotions, your life becomes intentional. You don't chase, you choose. You don't react, you respond. You don't regret, you grow. Emotional discipline is not built overnight. It is trained like a muscle. Just as lifting weights strengthens the body, handling emotions with wisdom strengthens the mind. Every time you resist the urge to react instantly, you build discipline. Every time you pause before speaking, you build control. Every time you refuse to let fear stop you, you build courage. Slowly, your emotions stop running wild, and you become the one holding the reins. That mastery is what creates leaders, visionaries, and individuals who inspire others simply by the calm certainty of their presence. There will always be storms in life, betrayals, disappointments, failures, and pain. You cannot stop the storms from coming, but you can decide how you stand in them. Without emotional discipline, storms will break you. You will cry, collapse, and surrender every time the winds blow. With discipline, you stand tall. You may bend, but you will not break. You feel the pain, but you do not let it paralyze you. You acknowledge the loss, but you do not let it define you. That is the power of emotional strength. It transforms storms from threats into training grounds. Think about the people who are admired the most. They are not admired because they never feel. They are admired because under pressure, they remain calm. In chaos, they bring order. In conflict, they bring clarity. In fear, they bring courage. Their strength does not come from being emotionless. It comes from being disciplined. When others lose control, they remain steady. And because of that, people trust them, follow them, and look to them for guidance. Discipline is magnetic because it is rare. One of the most important aspects of disciplining emotions is learning to delay reaction. Emotions demand immediate action. Anger says, shout now. Fear says, run now. Desire says, take it now. But wisdom whispers, wait. That pause is everything. In that pause, you reclaim control. In that pause, you decide whether this action will serve you or sabotage you. In that pause, you shift from being a slave of emotion to being the master of it. People who can pause, who can wait, who can choose instead of react, are the ones who move ahead in life with fewer regrets and greater results. Emotional discipline also means transforming feelings into fuel. Anger, for example, can destroy, but it can also drive change when directed wisely. Fear can paralyze, but it can also sharpen focus when faced with courage. Pain can weaken, but it can also build resilience when endured with purpose. The difference lies in control. Without discipline, emotions drain you. With discipline, emotions empower you. Every feeling has energy. If you learn to channel that energy instead of letting it control you, you become unstoppable. There will be people who try to provoke you, test you, and manipulate you. They will push your buttons, hoping to control your reaction. If you explode, they win. If you collapse, they win. But if you remain composed, if you refuse to give them the reaction they seek, you win. Emotional discipline is a shield against manipulation. It says, I decide how I feel, not you. I decide how I respond, not you. My destiny is in my hands, not yours. That power cannot be taken from you. It can only be surrendered. And when you refuse to surrender, you remain unshakable. Discipline also applies to how you handle success. Many people fail not in failure, but in success. They let excitement turn into arrogance. They let pride make them careless. They let the joy of achievement blind them to the need for continued discipline. Controlling emotions is not just about handling pain. It is also about handling joy, to celebrate without losing humility, to feel proud without becoming blind, to enjoy success without abandoning the habits that created it. Discipline ensures that even in moments of triumph, you remain steady, focused, and hungry to grow. Another critical element of emotional discipline is consistency. Anyone can be strong for a day. Anyone can hold their tongue once. Anyone can push through fear in a single moment. But true mastery comes from making discipline a way of life. It is built through daily choices, choosing calm in traffic, choosing patience with people, choosing persistence in struggle, choosing silence when tempted to argue. These small choices accumulate, building a fortress of self-control that no storm can tear down. Your destiny is not decided by one moment of passion or one surge of emotion. It is decided by the repeated pattern of how you handle your emotions over time. A single outburst of anger may cost you a relationship. A single moment of fear may cost you an opportunity, but consistent discipline builds a reputation, a character, and a future that others cannot shake. Discipline turns potential into achievement and dreams into reality. You cannot choose your emotions, but you can always choose your response. That choice is the gap between failure and success, between weakness and strength, between a wasted life and a fulfilled one. If you want to take control of your destiny, you must first take control of yourself. No external obstacle is greater than the internal chaos of undisciplined emotions. Once you master that, the world outside cannot stop you. Think of emotions like wild horses. Left untrained, they will run in every direction, dragging you with them, leaving you exhausted and lost. But trained, they become a source of incredible power, carrying you faster and farther than you could ever go alone. Your emotions are not your enemy, they are your power source, but only if you hold the reins, only if you train them, only if you discipline them. This discipline does not mean living without passion. On the contrary, it allows you to live with deeper passion. Because when you are no longer afraid of your emotions, when you no longer fear losing control, you can feel fully without being destroyed by feelings. You can love deeply without being blinded. You can dream boldly without being paralyzed by fear. You can face challenges fiercely without being broken by setbacks. Discipline gives you the freedom to feel fully and still live wisely. There will be days when you feel overwhelmed. Days when sadness seems too heavy, when anger seems too strong, when fear seems too loud. On those days, remember this. Discipline is not about perfection. It is about persistence. You may stumble, you may react poorly, you may lose control for a moment, but you return, you learn, you strengthen. Every stumble is part of training. Every mistake is a chance to practice. Over time, what once overwhelmed you becomes easy to control. What once controlled you now obeys you. Your destiny is waiting, but it is not waiting for the version of you that is swayed by every emotion. It is waiting for the version of you that feels everything but chooses wisely. The version of you that can stand in fire and not burn. that can walk through storms and not drown, that can face fear and still move forward. That version of you is built through discipline, and once it is built, nothing can take it away.